Actually, if we're just talking just regular TP memories, playing the demo would probably be my most cherished moment. The vibe I got from the whole thing was what really sold me into buying the full game.
Here's a story. I got my totem because I was hanging with someone in the desert right after I discovered the Discord and understood the golden salt shaker. I signaled that I didn't have a totem and they gave me one. We were drumming in the desert with sticks and using them as deer antlers.
My favorite The Under Presents memory was when I was sitting at the bar hanging out with some people and I heard a distant meowing. I went to go investigate and it was Princess Dumpster Truck holding a giant egg. I remember I was literally jumping up and down in real life because I was so excited. She told us she was trying to hatch the egg and she asked me to hold it for her while she talked to Catania. Catania was warning her about Stella, so she decided the dragon that hatched from the egg would help protect the cats. Then we helped the egg hatch and Dragoon was born. We were all dragon parents and I was so excited.
I haven't been part of the Under Presents for very long, but it was one of the first games that I discovered when I got my Quest 2. And I have to say, my favorite experience was where Don't Push the Button with Tumbleweed, and Would You Rather, actually, and my final show with Dasha of The Tempest. Somehow, in an hour and 5 minutes, she made it more emotional and intimate than anything I'd experienced in a long time. Like, I had to take my headset off because I had tears streaming down my face. It was that amazing.
Another favorite memorable moment was when Agni and I painted each other in the stage area. She posed with a giant golden buster.
One of my favorite times just hanging out with other sprites was with Pepper Doctor and Haumaru. I can't remember how it started, but we ended up spending a lot of time imitating the most recognizable time sprites here, like Gabby and... Oh, I think actually it started with Sunny. And other, like Sprite Kitty, Fazzy. Yeah, Fazzy. That was a good one as well. Yeah, it was honestly so much fun. It really felt like we were just quote-unquote talking. Yeah, just hanging out together. That was lovely.
That would either be the day that I first met Vicky, the day I proposed, or the wedding day.
Probably not my first noble memory, but my first encounter with Stella and the whole scene with TK will always be a significant event for me.
One of my most wholesome moments in the Under is meeting Star Kitty for the first time.
My first notable memory was when I first got the game and my first time in the Under with people. Scratch was there, but I decided to go to Time Boat instead.
So my first major memory of the Under Presents goes back to probably the first day I started playing. Before then, I had been told to go into the Under Presents knowing as little as possible, so I did. I went in blind. I didn't realize there was other players, and I definitely didn't know there was live actors. So it was just kind of one mind blank after another. Like, first I thought that other players were time clones, then I realized they were people. Then I had a cat lady come up and talk to me and realized it was a live actor. That was Vicky. She talked to me about wanting to have her own stage show and took me over to that octopus slide. Once we were over there, another player, which I later found out was a guy named Chunky Salsa, which we haven't seen for a while, unfortunately, showed up and we took turns making up dance moves as Vicky sang her octopus song.
A good non-wholesome story is when we were with Dasha and discovered a box which I convinced her was full of thumbs, so we buried the evidence in the desert. Or when Ted introduced himself as Ted Bundy and I fed him a thumb. Or when the gift shop owner discovered that his dolls contained thumbs and lost his mind before the ghost of his grandfather came and chastised him for selling thumbs. Good memories. Good bones.
One of my favorite memories is still of Caitlin singing while she was invisible about how I was alone in the under and there was no one down under when I went down to the pool, and when I got to the workshop I picked up the map and saw that I was indeed all alone in the under. And of course Chester asking if me and Ben was ever going to get married, and when I said no, she just replied,
Just gonna keep making out in front of all of us all the time, huh?
and that was where that story arc came from. So thank you, Kelly, for making me laugh and smile so many times. And Brandon, I recorded everything.
Do not record that. If anyone's recording that, turn it off. Okay, bleep that out. Okay, that's not.
Talking memories in here? I remember the first time entering the garden. I felt like a whole new part of the game opened right up. At the time I was so wrong. I had actually just reached the end, and I could not take my mind off it, which very quickly turned into the Discord server.
How could I forget my Sweepers Union initiation? I just jumped into an actor alert to Bernice and Russell's date to make up and clear things up at the top of the guts. And after all that drama, Russell went back to being MC's pawn, as per usual, and Bernice asked us who hadn't been initiated yet to the union. It was Axolotl and I that wanted to be initiated, so we all went to the pool to proceed with the ceremony. I remember it being such an amazing time. It was really fun. We had a bunch of tests, and Coffee was there being secretary, and Bernice asked us a lot of questions. And I really felt the connection there with everyone helping, and Bernice obviously being the gracious and humble host that she is.
My best Under Presents memory was on my birthday. I was down on my luck as a party had just been cancelled, and I hopped into the Under basically crying. Then I heard a tiny little drunk skeleton. Scratch on that day became my first and most meaningful actor encounter I've ever had in the Under. He sang a bunch of songs with me, which I later learned to be his normal routine, but at the time was brand new to me. And a lot of those songs were my favourites. My second best is Dancing with Fand, just after we had gotten married with the actor Nelly.
With my sword and pistol by my side, I'd plead for the life of Georgie.
Oh, well, my friend, now that's a nice...
Does anyone else here perform? Do you know what this feeling is? It's called the post-show blues. Bittersweet, usually induces crying. That's the blues. Any actor or any person who performs experiences the same feeling. So think of it like this. Everyone is also feeling the same way, no matter who we are, because we're a cast ourselves. We are a cast ourselves. We made movies, improvised next to actors, danced like no one was watching us, even if they were. And if they were, you wouldn't care, because we are a circle. A circle of people who are experiencing the same blues in one form or another. So, be grateful that we can all relate to something with each other. Our revels now are ended. This is not the end, just the beginning of not reveling in what we had. Especially not reveling in this crazy year that we've been. So have hope. I 100% believe that you will have an experience as special as this. Now, if you would excuse me, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my year. Happy New Year, and thank you. Sincerely,